We are all set. Let's get back underway. So our next stop is Exeter Station. It's actually Exeter St David's Station. And yeah, we haven't got quite so far to go this time. We have just shy of 52 miles to yeah, our next stop. And also, as we are leaving Plymouth, we shouldn't have the same sort of issues that we did in our attempts at getting to Plymouth from Taunton. And also, this is a passenger service, not a freight service, so we should be okay. Now, those who play this game may have noticed that now when the game is loading, once you've done everything on the configuration page, we've got a new image showing the new line, the Buchan line, new route DLC that we've got, which is understandable. I mean, you'd certainly want that. However, that image looks very much like its resolution is no more than 800 by 600, so it looks awful. And it also looks like they are using the Armstrong Powerhouse weather enhancement sort of package thing. And the reason I think that is because it does look very much like it's doing the one thing that weather enhancement does really well most often, which is completely fuck up the sky. It looks awful. Anyway, so we're on a 1 in 83. We certainly have not left behind all the gradients of Cornwall. We still have plenty of them here in Devon. So yeah, we've left the Cornish main line. We are now on the South Devon main line, but we're not on it for a hell of a long time actually. Certainly compared to how long we were on the Cornish main line. So we are entering a 70 mph zone. But after this short 60 mph zone, we then enter an 80 mph zone, which is the fastest we've been able to go on this entire journey so far. We're still on this 1 in 83 downhill section, so we can let the you know, let gravity do the rest of this. And also admit that yeah, I forgot to do the rebooting of the PC, so it's still a bit sluggish. I will definitely do it prior to the next one though. Prior to the next part of the route. So ground has leveled out. And we're now absolutely fine as far as our speed goes for this 60 section, which we are just about to enter pretty much as soon as we pass this signal. And there you can see the signs for the 60 zone, which we're now in. Once we come off this fairly sharp bend, and we have a huge number of sidings right here. Yeah, there you see it, entering the 80 zone. Right, let's get some proper speed up, take it into notch 4. We do now have quite a steep uphill climb, because this is the gradient that gave us so many problems on our freight runs where we were coming down it. So it's 1 in 81. It is certainly slowing us down. But we are still accelerating, that's the important bit. But it is going to get steeper, and as you can quite clearly see on the route display, it goes on for a long old while, well over 2 miles. So this is certainly as long as the Licky incline, which is quite an infamous gradient, but yeah, it's now 1 in 41, and we are slowing even though we're in notch 4, because of course, yeah, we're in a high-speed train, and they don't have the torque for dealing with really steep gradients like this. I mean, it's not going to, you know, it's not going to stop us or anything like that, but yeah, we just are not able to get, you know, maintain our speed as we go up here. And it's not like we don't have the power, we have plenty of it, but we just don't have the torque. Now, a freight train would not have this problem. It probably wouldn't be accelerating up this. I mean, 1 in 42 is going to prove to be, you know, provide a challenge for any loco, any sort of train that's coming up it. But the freight trains have the far superior torque, and they are geared towards providing like sheer power rather than sheer speed. So it would probably maintain its speed coming up here. It is starting to level out a little. It's still 1 in 75. It's by no means a walkover. And I've also just realised, yeah, I haven't started trying to slow down yet, and we're approaching a 60 mph zone. We are going to get our first speeding. For those who are trying to keep count of the number of speeding errors I make, in the part between Penzance and Plymouth I made 9, which is abysmal. I really wanted no more than 8 for the whole stretch from Penzance to London, and I got more than that within the first 80 miles. So yeah, because of the notches, we can't really sustain our speed. It's constantly sort of like on the rise or on the fall. We go over that rather impressive viaduct. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be until we are in the stretch between Reading and London before we will be able to get to 125. I think there might be a few sections between Exeter and Reading, which is, let's face it, that's a long old section on the Southwestern Expressways, where we'll be able to go into three figures, but only just. It would be like, you know, I think 110 at the very most. And we do have a section as we approach Exeter, where we will briefly be able to go to 100. So we'll finally get to see how well this thing accelerates up to 100. But I still have no idea what the acceleration of this thing is like from 100 to 125. Now the old Class 43, the Intercity 125, its acceleration from 100 to 125 is really not that good. It's very, very slow. So I'm hoping this is better. I mean, considering how much more recent the 220 is compared to the 43, it should be a downside better, but there's no guarantee of it. And this particular trip we are doing, not only is it the first time the 220 has appeared in any video, it's the first time I've driven it for more than about half a mile. So yeah, I really do not know what to expect from this loco, or this train. So we have Ivy Bridge coming up in just over a mile. First station we'll be going through. There's not going to be a vast number of stations along this route. And like I say, this stretch between Plymouth and Exeter, it's a lot shorter than the Penzance to Plymouth stretch that we have already done. So in that regard, yeah, our time between stations will be a lot shorter. I mean, we're already sort of up to just over 50 minutes before we are due to arrive at Exeter. I keep saying just Exeter. I mean, it doesn't help that it says Exeter station there. It is specifically Exeter St David's. So I think we go through Exeter St Thomas before we reach St David's, and then there's a third Exeter station, Exeter St James, Exeter St James Park. But yeah, we're not going through there. That is on a different line. That is part of the Tarka line as we go through Ivy Bridge station here. The surroundings of the station are a damn sight more impressive than the station itself. But anyway, where was I? Yes, Exeter St James's Park. Yeah, it's on the Tarka line. We have done a run on the Tarka line. Started at Barnstaple to Exeter St James. So I think we did pretty much the whole length of the Tarka line. Well, we have only done it in that direction. We haven't done the return trip on that one yet. It was certainly an unusual choice of loco for that one. It was a request from Nicky Boom 75. I think it might have been the first request he made, and he chose it because it was his local line, and he wanted to see how well it had been, how well it had been done in the simulator. And I seem to recall he was quite impressed. He did quite like it. And a number of people who subject themselves to my TSC videos, who are able to actually see their local lines being done in the game, because I got no chance. Neither of the Southend lines are in the game. Apparently they both were available as freeware workshop routes, but they both long gone. So yeah, I've no idea when or even if I will ever be able to do a London to Southend or Southend to London run. I just got to keep waiting for the routes to finally show up. But it's fair to say the London, Tilbury and Southend line is absolutely tailor-made for this game. Because it is just like, it's a fairly small line, and it doesn't it doesn't have any junctions where it's joining onto other lines, or at least not for the vast majority of it. Eventually, once you are starting to head towards Barking, there is a junction that would allow the trains to leave the LTS line and join the Great Eastern Main Line, so towards Liverpool Street. But I am pretty sure that is about it. So the only other sort of junction area is as you are, or if you're coming from Southend, then it's as you're approaching Pitsea, and then that's where you would either be going straight on to Basildon, or you take the Tilbury route, and you would turn off there and head towards Stanford-le-Hope. And that is something I wouldn't wish on anybody. So it looks like 60 is going to be our max for the majority of this stretch. You can see why. It's twisty enough. We're on this sort of raised, whatever you would call it. I was going to say embankment, but no, it's the total opposite of an embankment. But anyway, we're certainly not on the regular ground level. Although that said, it looks like we have now, we are now in a section that is on the ground level. And we still have plenty of gradients to deal with, although I think the worst of them are now behind us. Because once we've done this part of the run, and then we are joining the Southwestern Expressways, I think there are still a few gradients on there, but for the most part it's fairly sort of like easy going as far as gradients go, right up until we arrive in the Scottish Highlands. I mean, I dare say the route from Glasgow to Helensburgh Upper is not going to be like, you know, completely smooth, completely flat all the way. We've probably got a fair few gradients on that part, but yeah, entirely to be expected. We are, you know, we are going to be approaching the Scottish Highlands at that point. But that is quite some time still to come. I've also just remembered I haven't yet done, we're in a new area, we've got to do the radio test.
Welcome to the remote radio test unit. Please leave your message after the tone.
This is an NRN radio test call.
We were really, we are still gaining speed as we, as we coast. This one in 134, steep enough. Anyway, radio test call done. So we don't need to do the next one until we are leaving Exeter. Okay, so we've got a bit of a downhill gradient coming up, and when I say a bit, it does look like it's fairly steep and for quite some time. So at the moment the route display is showing 2 miles and it's all going downhill, and it's 1 in 65 at the moment. So yeah, this is, we're going to be having to control our speed via braking for a fair bit here. And this is another reason why I ruled out using like a class 800 series, because for a route as long as this one I would definitely have been, you know, unable to resist using the speed set on it. But in diesel mode that speed set really isn't much caught. And on sections like this where we are going downhill for 2 miles, and okay, it's at the moment it's only 1 in 95, so it's not as steep as it was. But yeah, with the diesel engine and the speed set, there would be no point using it, because it would just be doing exactly this anyway, just constantly still accelerating beyond the speed that it had been set to. Jesus, so it's now 1 in 52. I am rather glad that we are in a passenger, this is a passenger train and not a freight one. I can't actually remember if I did a freight run from Plymouth to, well, it would have been to Taunton. And obviously, yeah, there's the infamous 2 attempts it took me to go from Taunton to Plymouth, but did I do one the other way? I know I did a passenger run, Can't remember if I did a freight one. I don't think I did. So it's now 1 in 46. Yeah, I would not be enjoying this part if this was a freight train, that is for sure. Nevertheless, right, we're now, yeah, some 10 mph below the speed limit. I think we can let gravity do a bit now. 1 in 50 downhill. Oh yeah, lots of lots of speed increases, and yeah, another speeding. We were gaining speed a damn sight quicker than I thought we were going to. Okay. So 1 in 73, we are certainly going to pick up speed again, but this time I'll keep a closer watch on the speedo. I mean, imagine trying to do that, you know, trying to get down that hill in a class 66 in winter. I can't even leave T's dock in a class 66 at winter. Anyway, ground has now levelled out. We're going through Totnes station on the avoiding line. So this means we will soon be going along the Riviera. So 55 mph limit is fast approaching. Half a mile away, or just over. There's the Morpers board for it. We didn't get any AWS alert for it. So there is the sign. We are now in the 55 zone. We still slowed down rather more than we needed to, so and I forgot to do the exterior shot while we're going through Totnes station. Oh well. It's a bit late now. So we are pretty much heading south again as we make our way towards the Riviera. fact, we pretty much are on the Riviera line now, so we're just not quite on the part that is going along, you know, right along the coast. We're not far from it, but yeah, we're not there yet. Another uphill section coming up. It would appear we are not quite as far along this line as I thought we were. This is quite a long uphill section we've got coming here. So it's currently 1 in 76. I suspect it's going to get steeper than that though. So we'll let it bring our speed down. We'll let it bring it down to the sort of mid 40s, and then we'll give it the full throttle treatment. So it's now 1 in 75, 76, so it's leveled out a bit. Anyway, here we go. Well, we're accelerating a lot faster than I thought we would be. Because it's levelled out somewhat. It's now 1 in 104. Still steep enough, but yeah, nothing like as steep as I thought it would be. Yeah, so much so that if we keep it in notch 1, let's see, we are still decelerating. That's because it's now 1 in 54. It does seem a bit ridiculous, but it's actually easier doing the uphill sections than it is doing the downhill ones, especially if this was a freight train. I don't mind admitting that when it comes to freight trains, as it's now 1 in 38, but yeah, when it comes to freight trains, I dread doing downhill sections. So level out as we go through the tunnel here. Relatively short tunnel. And then we are starting at quite a steep downhill descent. Thankfully the speed limit goes up, but nowhere near as quickly as I would like it to. So it's a 1 in 41 downhill. And because of the 25% braking, we're actually we're able to put a good amount, able to slow our acceleration rate down quite a bit. In fact, we are now losing speed, and it's 1 in 57. Okay, we'll let it go down to 50, and then we'll actually start coasting now. And this should be fine. We'll be in the 60 zone then. There we go, we're in the 60 zone now, so we've got a bit more leeway as far as letting gravity accelerate us again. Still 1 in 57. As difficult as I found the freight run from Taunton to Plymouth, I have a feeling that doing it the other way around from Plymouth to Taunton would be even more difficult. Oh, yeah, I wasn't braking enough. So Newton Abbot Station is coming up, and that is very close to the coastal section of the Riviera line. So yeah, here, this is the section where we joined the Riviera line. When I was saying a few miles back that we were already on it, no we weren't, we were still on the South Devon line. In fact, really, we never leave the South Devon line. Even when we're on the Riviera section, that is just another part of the South Devon line. Yeah, I think it's somewhere around here that yeah, that happens. Somewhere around here that there's another part of the Riviera line that joins onto here, which is coming from Torquay. So we've already gone beyond there. I mean, Torquay to Devon is actually quite a short hop, but by train it is a bit of an awkward one. So anyway, here we are at Newton Abbot. We have a 90 mph section coming up. Very welcome indeed. I don't think we're going to get the chance to actually take us up to 90 mph, but I'm certainly going to give it a go. Exeter station is now only 19 miles away. And we're now in the 90 zone. a speed decrease coming up to 80, but I mean, we haven't even reached that yet, and we're still accelerating. I want to try and get us to at least some sort of decent speed, because let's face it, since we left Penzance, we've really only been crawling along. So we're at 85. There we go, so we made it to 90 very, very briefly. So 5 for the 80 zone. Here it comes. We got to start slowing down again pretty heavy. I wasn't getting ready for this 60 zone that's coming up. I think we'll be alright. Yeah, there we go. So, yep, the 60 zone. It looks like everybody went out and bought the same boat. I mean, yeah, not a huge amount of variety on the boating front there. So we're approaching Plymouth station. So these rather steep concrete embankments either side of us. Doesn't make it a particularly welcoming sight here. So, Plymouth station. So we are about to... Oh, that's a big old bloody bump there. Here we are entering a 75 zone. We're certainly not going to be able to do 75 all the way along here. Yeah, we got this 60 zone coming up. We've got to start braking for this. As we start approaching places like Dawlish and that, where we're going through multiple tunnels, in fact Dawlish is coming up, 1.5 miles along the line. So you can see that there is some attempt at a seawall there. I noticed that just as we started to speed. Yet another speeding error. So here we are at Dawlish Station. It's fantastically scenic station, that one. Whoa. So we are now in the 75 zone, but I'll treat it as a 70 for now because yeah, we have that 70 limit coming up. I think that is roughly in the area where we start to turn away from the coast, yeah, heading towards Dawlish Warren, where the those converted railway carriages are that are now caravans. So yeah, here we are in the 70 zone. Once we come off this fairly sharp curve, we will be in an 80 zone. There we go. But not for very long. So there are the railway carriages. There are now sort of like hotel B&B sort of places. This is Dawlish Warren Station. So I mean that 75 mph limit is, or was, a mile away. I'd already slowed down for it. I mean, you know. So we are now in the 75 zone, and we are doing 68. So Starcross Station coming up. And now I'm speeding again. But looky here. So, just over a mile, we can actually go up to 3 figures. Sort of taste of things to come. in the 100 zone. Let's see what this thing can do. Obviously, being a diesel train, it's not going to have the acceleration of an electric, so you know we're not going to be matching the acceleration of a Class 91 or a a Class 800 series in electric mode. But I still think the accelerations should still be pretty good. So this is already by a distance the fastest we have done on this journey so far. There we go, we're at 100. And yeah, if I'd carried on we would have been speeding. There are an awful lot of bumps on this line. Thankfully we're coming off the South Devon line fairly soon. The bumps being there are bad enough, but it does appear that the Class 220 really does feel every single one of them. So 1.5 miles we have a speed reduction down to 75. By the time we get to that, Exeter St David's should be on the route display. In fact, no, it's Exeter St Thomas. So, fine for our approach to St Thomas station. And there is Exeter St David's on the route display now. So we're in the 75 zone. I will need to start braking fairly soon for that 45. Mind you, we're not going to be doing 45 through Exeter St David's, we're going to be stopping there. So here is Exeter St Thomas station. It's quite a basic looking station, this one. We've got double yellows here. That means that right, so this will be a single yellow. This one could be a red unless we are changing lines over points, and that's why that 45 is there. We'll take it down to 40. So yeah, here's our single yellow. Do need to start slowing down again, because I've got to go on the assumption that the next signal is a red. Can't see from here. Well, those signals are not facing us. So we've gone through, well, supposedly a signal, but I couldn't see what it was. Big old station here, Exeter St David's. So yeah, this looks a decent place to stop. So here we are. Let everyone off. This is Exeter St David's, our second stop of the run.